Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Okay, I was also testing because I was putting my headphone.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. So, Rahul, you're for the first time, I think.
Yes, I have come in for the first time. I went to the lodge a couple of days ago and I was introduced to the possibility of joining online. So I thought I'd sort of come in and hear the conversations at least to start.
Yeah, that's good. So, this is like a series of discussions which have happened. So, we will continue with that because now maybe we can at the end we can tell about the basis of this discussion which started. I just want to check who's new now. Sangeeta ji, you are new, I think. You are also for the first time. Hello.
Yeah. I'm attending for the first time, but I'm always affiliated to Theosophical Society, Pune.
Okay.
In fact, I was handling their library also for some time,
Wonderful. Great.
but
So,
now I've shifted quite far off from the lodge.
where are you
So
living?
I'm not
Which area?
sorry.
Which area are you living in Pune?
Susgaon, beyond Pashan.
Okay, okay, okay. I live in NIBM. So I also live
Okay,
far. So
okay.
today I have to go in the evening to Wakar side, Pimple Gaurav, and then I thought if I have to go to Deccan to take a. And most of the people are actually coming offline now, so online. So I thought maybe I could
Yeah, this is
also.
a really good idea.
Today, first time I'm doing online only.
Mhm.
It's nice. So welcome to everyone, and
Thank you.
we will begin with. I will again give because there are 2 3 new people, so I will probably again for 5 minutes talk about the origin of this discussion. We started this discussion to discuss 3 4 things. One is to first target was that we have a discussion where we can discuss the kind of a method and the basis for the working of the mind and the origin of thoughts and how can you reprogram your mind to remove those unnecessary thoughts, what are the basis of those thoughts and what is the kind of a
आपकी
process of
आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है आपकी
just
लाउड नहीं
how's
है
it
थोड़ा
now? Hello,
आपकी
is it
आवाज
clear?
थोड़ा तेज करना पड़ेगा
uh, hello, is it okay?
Hello, Shiv.
Is it
Your
okay?
voice is really sounds a little far away. So you have to really adjust your
Okay.
volume or your distance or whatever mic that you have. It's really sounding a little faint.
uh, hello, is
Yeah,
it
it's
okay?
better now.
Hello,
Yeah.
it's better.
That's why
Okay,
people are
because
having straining to hear you.
okay. Then what I'll do, I'll go on my mobile phone. I think that's much more clearer. So I'll just log
Whatever is
out.
comfortable, you're
Yeah.
sounding sometimes a little at a distance away. That's the reason I think they're having little time trouble
Is
hearing
this
you.
okay now?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Just see the mic is closer to you when you're
Yeah,
speaking.
I have my headphones, so the mic is no, I
Yeah.
can't really bring it much more closer. But
Yeah.
I'll have to speak a little louder. And
Yeah.
if
And
you feel there's a
other people
problem,
are
then I will.
requested. Yeah, other people are requested to keep your mics on mute so that there is no other disturbance coming in the way. It's an
Yeah.
request. Yeah, for everyone
Yeah.
else to keep their mics on mute. So there is no background noise to interfere with the lecture. Of
And
course,
if you
you can
still
unmute
find
when you participate.
if you find my voice is not clear, then let me know, because one is I have to talk loud and I may tend to reduce my volume while talking.
Yeah.
Then the best way is I will
Okay.
switch over to my mobile. My mobile is much more clear, but right now I'm on a
Yeah.
computer. So
Continue,
let me know.
continue, Shiv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this discussion was based out of 3-4 requirements. One is to understand the working of mind and the science behind the mind. I won't say that high grade science, but just what is the trigger point, from where are the thoughts coming from the sensory organs to the brain, and how the brain is processing based on the conditioning of the brain. And the brain processes, and those are the thoughts which come out of that processing. That's a result of the programming of the brain, how the thoughts are generated. That was the whole idea behind this. And the other areas where we want to finally dwell into was go into understanding what is energy, what is consciousness, some other areas of interest, to see more logically and little scientifically. So it's like a mix of philosophy and science. So that was the idea. But right now we are still at the mind level. We are still at the mind level. I would request if you can put on mute. So we'll not have any kind of a background disturbance. So we discussed the science behind the mind, working of mind, how the programming happens, how the upbringing and the conditioning leads to programming of the brain. And that programming is like a pattern which keeps processing every signal in a particular way, and that leads to the kind of thought which are getting generated repeatedly. So it's like a pattern, and you are unable to change it, and we just don't understand what is the science behind this. Actually, it's all a science, because we have programmed, conditioned in certain way to process everything in certain way, because that's a pattern which is embedded during upbringing. Now the whole idea is that how do we correct that. So the first thing was to be aware that there's something going wrong, what is going wrong, why it is going wrong. So when we get into that kind of questioning, then that's where the beginning happens to transform ourselves. So the transformation process requires questioning, awareness of our own problems, which are actually leading to these kind of thoughts. It's not there's something, anything external, but something which cannot be attributed to. Everything in this world has a reason, and the whole thing is how do we find that reason. So a more practical understanding of this whole thing is required, and not to get into some kind of magical process, or which will do some magical trick or some kind of technique which will solve it. So we have to be realistic, and then only we can move forward in this. Then we came to different tendencies, or the nature or the conditioning. What are the various factors which are part of the conditioning, and what has been affected by that conditioning? Those were the areas we were discussing one by one. And today I was thinking we'll discuss about tolerance and patience. So these are the human characteristics based on which, how your characteristic is tuned positively, negatively, like you're selfless or selfish. So based on those conditioning, how your qualities have been tuned, are they tamasic, rajasic, sattvic? That is the only way, or reason for which the brain is processing every signal and creating a thought accordingly. So once we understand that, we start getting into the depth of understanding each of this quality, that how that quality is impacting and how these qualities are all interconnected. And then we come to what is destiny, prarabdha kya hai, what is destiny, why the destiny is created, what is law of karma, which is a very important part of theosophy, science, philosophy, law of karma, non-discrimination. So non-discrimination is also one of the quality that we should be not discriminating. So which is again taken as a core, one of the core objective of theosophy, science, and understanding religion also. Like if you see in the board which is outside, how to do a study of comparative religion, how to study different religion and how to see the unity in them, and how to understand what is religion. And religion is nothing, is like alignment to our human qualities. That is only religion. Religion is only teaching, are we aligned to our human qualities, and are our karmas based on those human qualities or not. This is the only whole basis of our existence. Our human quality, we should be loving. Now, what is loving? Loving means we should be selfless, we should be egoless. If we have any quality which is not tuned correctly, then we can't be loving unconditionally. Then we are all biased in our love. So these are the basis of existence is love, and love is a sum total of all the positive qualities. So we our existence should be based on we should be loving. Like loving means not that kind of love which we talk about, the Western world talks about. Like कहते हैं जैसे प्यार मोहब्बत होनी चाहिए ना आपस में. The harmony. Love means harmony and non-discriminatory. So that is the basis of existence which we forget, and we tend to behave in a way the way we are conditioned. Even after listening, reading, we again go back to the way we are conditioned. So to remove that conditioning, we have to do reprogramming. To do reprogramming, we have to start putting the new pattern and rejecting the old patterns when they come up. So those tendencies have to be suppressed, and the new tendencies have to be brought out. तो वो ये feedback system हमें एक लाना है. We have to block, give a feedback back to the brain, and then brain tells you to take a decision, and then you take a decision based on your awareness. Once you are aware of your negative quality, you are able to block it, and then you are able to give a feedback to the brain. So this is happening very scientifically. Without the feedback coming from you, this process does not get completed, and with that feedback, brain allows you to take another decision. Now you can fall back into the old conditioning, and you can, with your willpower, go back to the new conditioning. When you do this repeatedly, a new pattern is formed, and that is a new program. And then whether you want it or not, now you will behave in the new way. So we are not anything super duper. We are all just a machine which has been programmed. It has to be reprogrammed, and the irony is that it has to be reprogrammed by us only. This is the beauty of human creation. So this is what we are discussing. We discuss many other qualities: selfishness, jealousy, comparison, in depth. In the last few classes, we kept on discussing those things, and sometimes we also discuss objectives of theosophy. What are your experiences when you go to Adyar? What are your experiences? Like I went to Krishnamurti Foundation, Chennai, and Adyar. I also went to Krishnamurti Foundation in Sahyadri last week. I had some. We did share those experiences also, because it is also beneficial to exchange our experiences when we go to these places, so that we should know what are we actually getting out of it by going there. What is that can be avoided, what is to be taken. So it's all about what we should take there and what we should maybe avoid there. So our experiences will ultimately that how do we benefit by being part of theosophy, by being part of all this. What can we learn from the founders? What is more priority? What can be the next step? Like I said, we can discuss about energy, consciousness. So if you look into the occult science, esoteric science, which theosophy went into, they only went into that only after clearing the brain, only freeing their mind from all the negative impulses. Then only they could get into those kind of areas. So the whole idea is theosophy is that first you clear up your brain, get clarity. Once you get clarity, you can expand your mind and discover many things which are very interesting in this cosmos. And so today we will discuss, I was thinking we will discuss about tolerance and patience, because tolerance and patience is something which is despite cleaning up many other characteristics, this tolerance and patience, if it is not controlled, these negative tendencies tend to slip us back into the same dungeon. And then all the other devils, all these negative human qualities are like devils. They are waiting to attack you. So one of the devil is able to pull you back into the dungeon. They all will come and then capture you. So it is like a fight with our own self. Our this existence in this world is not all the conflicts are all within ourselves. If suppose my wife is fighting with me, she's not fighting with me. She's fighting with her own self. If I'm fighting with my wife, then I'm not fighting with my wife. I'm actually fighting with my own self. We don't realize this. We are only seeing the world externally. We are not seeing things internally. We don't see why somebody is behaving like this. Where is empathy? How many of us practice empathy? If we don't practice empathy, then we are practicing hatred. Then we are practicing judgment. Then we are practicing expectation. We discuss what expectations do to us. And then we forget law of karma, because when we are practicing expectation, then we are not practicing law of karma. We are not following and we are not understanding law of karma. So these are all interconnected. This is like a puzzle. We cannot clean one and think that we have come far, but or we have evolved. We have to work on everything, and that's why in my book I made a human mirror where I listed down all the qualities, and I put a scale of 1:10. So it's like a table. So to start with, if 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 you can see the table, you will find you can mark yourself, and you know which quality you need to work on. You can only judge yourself whether you are behaving in a jealous way. Are you jealous? Always jealous? That is your characteristic? Is that your nature? What is my nature? Am I jealous? Am I selfish? How much selfish I am on the scale of 1:10? How much impatient I am on the scale of 1:10? So if I am 4, if I am, suppose I am a patient, if I say patient, if I am 4 means I am more impatient. So this is the area I need to work on. So the whole method is that I start doing observation, introspection, and this is what a lot of people, what they call meditation, is actually this. And I sit quietly, maybe go near the river, especially when you go to Adyar, or if you go to Krishnamurti Foundation, you can go to Sahyadri. There you get beautiful time to do introspection, all in peace. All external things get disconnected. Nature takes you in your lap, and it allows you to think about things in depth. And this is what the whole idea of creating Adyar or these places were by the founders, that people can come and do their self-inquiry, thinking, right questioning, and correct themselves, find the reality, disconnect from the external artificial world. So this puzzle has to be solved, and we have to find out what are the qualities which are actually causing all the problems, and we have to slowly start seeing the presence of those negative qualities in our thoughts and actions. So you have to pick up your thoughts and actions. You can pick up what is happening in the current scenario, today or yesterday, day before. What is that which is bothering you? What are the qualities which are actually are responsible for that, not external. Do only internal analysis. Don't look at what the other person is doing. Just do, how can I deal with it? The world will not change for you. Our world is not the entire planet. Our world is only, we discussed this, our world is only the people who matter to us at that point of time, or the place. So our world is defined by all the thoughts are coming from the touch points we have in our life. So it doesn't matter what anybody Rahul Saluja thinks about me, because it doesn't matter to me now. But if I am having some dealings with Rahul, then those things will start coming, and then those transactions will start defining. As you know, I was asked somewhere in Sadri, I was reading about listening to Krishnamurti ji, and he was telling, we create images, we start creating images. So he was talking about observation and analysis. So each word is very deep. The whole idea is that we get into the depth of these words. When we talk to somebody, we start judging people immediately. So what he was telling is that we are analyzing. We start analyzing rather than observing. The meaning is that when you're observing, you are collecting data. When you have enough information, then you analyze it. But what we do, we start analyzing, which is like saying that you are judging already. You're already judging without actually observing. In fact, in my book also, I've written a process. I made a diagram flow chart that this whole self-inquiry starts from observation. We should be observing all around our what is happening around us. With that observation, we are collecting data now. And with all the data, then we start introspection. And what are we observing is for learning. And what we observe are about ourselves. All the data, when it's collected, then it starts the introspection. When we do introspection, we should be very sincere, not with the ego. truthful to our own self, and introspection, contemplation. Then, after a detailed, long period of contemplation, we can come to some conclusion and understanding. And after that, we have to start practicing it. Then comes that feedback, giving feedback to the brain that don't process it like this, and this is wrong. So I will process it differently. Then the change happens finally. And when that change happens, then it has to be done repeatedly. And when we do this repeatedly, then we are able to change the pattern, and then those negative tendencies are eliminated over a period of time. Because something which has been happening for decades, it cannot be reconditioned so soon. It may take a couple of days, months, or maybe years to bring that conditioning. And after that, it is almost irreversible again because it's a new pattern. So if we talk about impulsive or tolerance, impatient and impulsive, and tolerance, patience, you will realize the sum total of this is we are impulsive, we are impatient. So if we are discussing about patience here, I really don't know whether we'll go back and discuss introspect about this particular quality today, because we are discussing quality by quality, week after week, but we are unable to. I'm not sure how much we are going back and thinking about these qualities in our life, and also realizing if we are working on this particular quality, is have we been able to bring some change, as and that benefit will be start becoming obvious to us after a period of time. And if that benefit comes, that becomes a self-driven motivation factor for us to continue on this path. And then once you take this path, and once the reality, you come closer to the reality, then once you get the taste, जैसे वो शेर की मुंह में खून लग जाता है एक बार, वैसा होता है ये. Once you move on this real spiritual evolution, then nobody in the world can actually stop you. Then this becomes unstoppable. And then when you start changing, all your surroundings starts disconnecting from you, which was not part of the reality. So people, especially who are your friends, relatives, whoever it can be, when you change, when you transform, you become a different person. They see you that you are not that who used to fight with me every day. Now you're not fighting. You are not acceptable. You will not be accepted this way. So you will slowly start dissociating, disconnecting. All that will happen. Many changes will happen along with your own transformation. Your whole ecosystem will change. People around you will change. All that will happen. You will find more friends in theosophy. You will not find more friends which you had before. So all that happens. So if I leave this, if I talk about patience, so we have to see in our thoughts and action, where are we? What is the problem? Why are we not patient? Every time we tend to be impatient. Anything, any situation, any adverse situation in our life, whatever suffering is there, even if suppose we are unwell, we want the disease to be cured fast. So a lot of people will. There are a lot of people who don't want to take any medicine. They rely on the nature. They understand the body better. There are many people who run to a doctor, and there are many people who even pop up a pill even without going to a doctor, thinking that this disease is coming to me. So there are people who are so scared of diseases that they even pop up pills without even having a disease. So mind works very differently. We have fears. We have a fear that if this should happen now only. If it doesn't happen now, what will happen to me? This will happen to me. That can happen to me. So we are not willing to accept. So now another quality comes, acceptance. We lack our ability, our tenacity to accept things. We don't want to accept something which we don't want. We are not willing to accept whatever comes our way. And this something has to be thought of. Life is not always a smooth sailing for anyone. And we only look at our own self, but you can see big people whether it been a prime minister or a chief minister, they have short shelf life. The heroines in the industry, a lot of people have short shelf life. A lot of people become pauper. From crore-patis, they become, you see what has happened to the Jet Airways, Naresh Goyal. You look at examples, we only see Ambani and Adani or, Tata, Birla and all, but we don't look at Sahara, Subrata Roy, we don't look at Naresh Goyal, we don't look at all those bhagodas who have left the country, taken away so much money, ED and CBI is chasing them. So life can be hell sometimes when you are chasing money, and that materialistic world can take you into a solid air turbulence. But if you live simple, if you understand the beauty of solitude, simplicity, austerity, life will be least turbulent because nothing affects you. You will be like a strong tree. Tree is like we how much do we try to learn from the tree itself? How many of us would have even thought that should I compare myself with a tree? This is a very interesting thing to contemplate. How many of us really compare ourselves with animals? What can you learn from animals? What can you learn from the nature? What learning we are doing from our surrounding? Nothing. We are always comparing with my brother or sister or friend who's earning more money, more money. It's all the whole comparison about money only, or who's run away with my money, or who's got more money, or who has not done anything for me. He could have done this for me. So expectations. So there's a whole lot of negative qualities which are actually controlling us. We are actually controlled by all the negative qualities, and we don't realize that who's controlling us. Nobody's controlling us in this world. Our own negative qualities. It is all the perception. The world will not change. Your wife, husband, father, mother, son, daughter, uncle, aunt, no one will change. You can only change. And you will get your peace of mind if you change. They will never change. They'll remain forever and not in peace. They keep behaving like that if they don't want to change. But only you can change yourself. We can change the way we deal with the world. The world cannot change for us. And again, understand what is world. World is not Trump or Putin. Our world is only people who are around us. And if you disconnect all the people, then the whole world is vanish. And when the world vanish, the thoughts vanish. Now, desires. Desire is another problem. Need and desire. If you think need and desire, if you become desireless, and now what is desireless? Desireless is a state where you reach vairagya. So simplicity, austerity, just managing your basic needs. What are your basic needs? How many people of us have really understood what is the basic need and how much do you need to fulfill that basic need? Where should I be living? In a metropolis or in a small village, which is beneficial? These are the areas to be thought of. And if we feel we may say, this is what he's talking is totally impractical. People will come up with that. But then you accept, if you say that, then you should be willing to go through all this hell. Then don't think you can come out of this mess and mental stress. But yeah, radically you can't execute everything, but you can change slowly many things. And as you transform, your clarity will come. And when the clarity comes, then you will realize a lot of things are making sense now, which looked radical at that point of time. So it's a slow process, and it's not a race. This evolution, human evolution, is not a race. This transformation is not a competition. It's very individualistic. It's very personal, and it doesn't need any identity with anyone in this world. All the founders in theosophy, they don't say that you worship me. Don't make us authority. They have given us a path. They've given us uh, a method, and they're telling that you take this method and evolve. Don't associate. Don't create identities. We create identities that I am theosophist, I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so. Don't create identities. We are not. This creation of identity itself is a contradiction to the non-discrimination philosophy of theosophy. If you see this non-discrimination, creating identity is a contradiction to the non-discriminatory core of theosophy. So, like Krishnamurti was saying, don't worship, don't make anybody authority. He says, I am a speaker. He doesn't say I'm a teacher. Nobody is a teacher. We are all speakers. We are all sharing experiences. We are doing a brainstorming. So he said, use this forum as that we are brainstorming. We did not come here to surrender to some authority, associate with some authority, follow somebody. There's no need to follow somebody. You take inspiration, you take guidance, you understand a method, and then execute it. That's all. There's no need to, because when we create identities, we are still stuck to the social identity. We are adding another stamp there. It's like branding, that I am so and so, 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 so and so. And then comes ego, because that happens only with ego. If you have ego, you create branding. And branding is what? Social identity. And what is social identity? Artificial living. That's not reality. So if you start running away from that, all this branding, then these are all chains. We are all slaves to our own creations. Identity creation itself, slavery. A slave to the society, a slave to the social bullshit, a slave to the social artificiality which has been thrown on us. We don't understand where is the real happiness lying. We don't know we need 1 crore rupees, 2 crore rupees, 50 lakh rupees. We don't go and live with the village people. I live with the village people in many states. They live on 10,000, 15,000. They don't need money. I went to Himachal Pradesh. This guy told me we don't need money. From apple to milk, everything is growing. They even stitch their own clothes. Even my mother used to stitch most of the clothes. So where was the need? There was a need for so much money. But look at some people. They are chasing endlessly. They have reached retirement age, but they are still chasing endlessly. They don't know where is the real happiness from. We have not experienced nature. We are only experiencing concrete and metal. We buy that 4-wheel metal box called car and pay crore rupee for that. Somebody is paying 50 lakhs, somebody is paying 20, 10, 5. For what? So coming back to patience, this is a very wide area, so we tend to digress to just to give a picture, to bring the whole idea every time we discuss. So when I talk about patience, then why are we not patient? Do we introspect this in our thoughts and action? Why are we? What is impatience doing to me? It is actually not letting me sleep. The thought coming out of impatience is constant. In a day, you will have lakhs of thoughts coming out of impatience just because of one thing, and we don't realize that let anything happen. What will happen? Are we afraid of death? Even a person in the present doesn't go hungry. He gets his food. So what are we afraid of? Have you ever thought? It's a fear of losing something, fear of achieving something. That comes and leads to impatience, and lack of acceptance, lack of change in our life. Sorry, non-acceptance of change in our life. We are happy to go up in money, and when the money reduces, we are not willing to change. Most of the people who retire, they have to go through this change of what do you call it? Reduced resources, financial resources. Your earnings reduce, but this is also a myth. Like if I talk about my own example, I was earning pretty well working in corporate, but 80% of my earning was going in paying loans. And most of the working people are all paying only loans throughout their life. But they are very happy that they see a very big salary figure. But the basic cost of running a house is same for most of the people. All the extra earning is going into buying more and more things. If you're earning more, you'll buy something more expensive. So ultimately, your 80% salary is only going into those. Entire life goes into that. When you retire, you are now left with what is needed, with what we were actually running your house. But that figure reduces to that, which for government employee it's called pension, for private sector also, or that their investments. So now you can't be looking for that kind of figure which was catering to your loans. Now all your need for loans is almost over, or probably over. But that figure is not there, and that makes people very fearful. They're afraid whether they're
Hello.
used to that figure. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Naidu ji.
Sorry.
So, so we are used to that figure. So we have this. This is also a conditioning that I'm conditioned to certain salary. Whether that salary is not needed now. But when I reach 55, 60, 65, I'm going through that worry that I'm not getting enough money now. So this is a fear. This is a perception. Not understanding the reality. Because there are a lot of fear, like what will others think? No, he's earning less. So people start dissociating with people who retire. I'm also going through this. I am 59. So people now don't see, because you don't come in a office vehicle with 10 people with you. So you have a different status, different image people had. Now the image is changed. So you are not welcome so warmly the way you are welcomed, with that artificial respect which was there. So we feel very uneasy when we change into that mode, and how the world reacts. That makes us very uncomfortable. We feel we are losing our importance. But what was that importance? All fake. So to understand how much fake life we were living is very, very important. And this holistic understanding is needed. And then only you will understand why are we impatient. Why are we impatient? Because we have so many fears. We want something to happen our way. We are not willing to accept that change. And we don't understand that there is nothing wrong in this change. Why I am having so many expectations now? Why should my life be not the way it is now? Why should it not be the way it is now? How can it be the way it was before? So we have to think that what changes will come in our life. Our body is going to change. The capability of the body also changes. So what is the beauty of what is the fun in being 60? What are the advantages of being in 60? We forget that, and we start worrying about something which is not needed, and that makes our life miserable. If you can disconnect with all your you are finished with your responsibility. You are in Vanprastha ashram, and if you can live Vanprastha ashram with that vairagya, you can enjoy your old age so beautifully. You can become you can become like a child who's free. You're back to childhood actually, and nobody should matter to you. Like, your law of karma. Law of karma is what? Karma is basically our responsibilities. Our responsibility changes with time. When you enter Vanprastha ashram, your responsibility should be over. You should not worry what is happening in your family. Why should you worry? You have done your bit. Your body allowed you to do certain karma which fulfilled your family requirement. Now is the time for you to relax. So don't think that you are responsible for something going wrong in the family. Now they are responsible. You've done your job. You made your child capable. Don't run after your child. Let anything happen to that child. Whatever you can do in your capacity, even then that's your law of karma. But then don't think that try to overdo, and don't, because of attachment. We have attachment. That's another problem. So attachment is another quality. So that is also to be thought of. How much attachment you have. मोह माया. अपना मोह कब भंग होगा? किस किस का मोह भंग हुआ है? मोह भंग क्यों नहीं हो रहा? Attachment, vairagya. So there are so many things to be understood. How much have you analyzed attachment? How much have you analyzed that attachment is affecting you? Where all it is affecting you? So if you see, these are all interconnected. So when you go for 2 hours and sit near the river in some between the hills, and you think for 2 hours every day, go for 5-6 days to Sayadri. Sayadri is beautiful. Go to Sayadri. It's really beautiful. Or go to Adyar or Krishnamurti Foundation. All are amazing. Do some contemplation. You will come back with a lot of answers, a lot of clarity, and that will speed up your whole process, because it may not be possible to do that here. Actually, if we can start discussion online, really doesn't work well. So the last time I had gone to the lodge, and unfortunately the lodge could not open, and we could not have the lecture last time. So then I was sitting with 2-3 people who had come for offline, and we were discussing that we should have discussions, open discussions rather than lecture. It should be an open discussion. We should come to the lodge, have an open discussion, and that's more interesting. So this is what I want to propose, rather than a monologue, because online monologue is okay, but I don't know how much it is really benefiting. But if we do a discussion which is much more fruitful, and this is what I liked in Adyar also, and Krishnamurti Foundation also. It was all discussion over a period of just over lunch, informal discussions. So in Chennai, every meal was followed by discussion on the table only, in the dining room only. It went on for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So every day we were having informal discussion. It was and very productive, very interesting discussions which were happening, very thought provoking. This is something if we can start in our lodge, convert this into that. If people can come, maybe in summers it may be a little difficult because it's now very hot. But maybe after this 1 or 2 showers, the temperature will cool down, and then we should probably start gathering in the lodge. That would be more interesting. Okay, so I will leave the any doubts people have, anything they want to ask, let me know. Yes, Rahul, आप mute पे. You have to unmute. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about analysis and observation, and you said that we tend to start analyzing before we've completed our observation, and we get into the area of judging people and judging situations instead of. I wanted to get your thoughts on when can one, for example, in trying to explore a certain aspect in theosophy, and let's say we're talking about tolerance or we're talking about patience, when is it, or how do we get to know that I've had a good amount of observation to move to the stage of analysis? How does one get to that understanding?
So when we pick up any situation, suppose, so what analysis happens is, introspection is, we pick up any instance in our life. Suppose you had some argument, or maybe you were talking to somebody and there were disagreements. So now start analyzing that situation. Or maybe you went to the office, there was some transaction which happened with your boss or with your subordinate. Pick up any instance. Start analyzing who spoke like this, what you spoke, what you said. Was that little blunt? Was I was speaking without thinking? Did I speak correctly? Then you realize, like they say, pause before you speak. Don't respond immediately. Cool down before you speak. So I was giving one example. It was a nice example which I gave last time, I think. So I was in Warsaw and I was going in a mall. And in the mall I went, this is called impulsive, regarding impulse. In the mall I saw something in the shop, and I decided to take another round and come back to that shop to see whether I really feel that I really need this. So I took 2 rounds and came back to the shop, and I realized that actually that impulse had gone, that I need this or this is nice. And you come back next day, see that You will not even look at it. So what happens? We react to our impulses. Our impulses are full of greed, power, fame, desires. So the desires are completely, so we don't analyze those situations. Even if you go to a market and you see what you bought, or even if you look around in your house, suppose how many things you have, how many things you need, and why did you buy that? Even if you analyze that, you realize like somebody wants to buy a expensive car and then you buy the expensive car, and then did you really introspect that that car was really giving you that happiness? Or when suppose somebody bought a, now there is a issue of second hand luxury cars, people who are buying for sake of status, they didn't realize, they were so foolish that they did not realize that the amount they're paying in maintenance and insurance is every year they can buy a small car. That is the kind of money you pay for maintaining a luxury car. You change a tire, it will cost you, one tire will cost you 20-30,000 bucks. So the problem is you did somehow buy a luxury car very cheap, but when you have to maintain it, you pay some 50,000 for maintenance or 1 lakh rupees for one service. And if you change the tire and battery, you will go mad. So people do things for the sake of the society, for the sake of the identity. But any action or thought which we are doing, we don't introspect that, and we don't uh, analyze that. So what is awareness? We have to develop awareness. Awareness means that we are aware of what we are doing, how we are acting. Are we acting or reacting? There's a difference. These words are very, very deep. Are we acting or are we reacting? How we should act? What is act? Act is karma. What is my karma? Am I reacting? Why am I reacting? Should I be reacting? Now, even come to this, that should I be reacting? So all my acts are reactions. And why I'm reacting? So why did I react there? Why did not I observe? Why didn't I listen? Where was my empathy? So somebody is suppose abusing me. So should you be empathetic, or should you be judging that person, analyzing that person, or should empathy come? Because everybody is going through some problem in life, and their reactions, their outburst, the way they deal with you sometimes is coming out of some problem. And what we do is the empathy is strongly lacking. It happens to me also. It's not that, but I've been also, these things keep bothering everyone. Empathy goes out of the window and judgment comes. There is no deep understanding of a problem. So even if you look at empathy, if you think, where is my empathy in every action, you realize that empathy was totally lacking. And like I had a boss, and that boss was very toxic. So the general perception was the office in this office, it's very toxic. So everybody was cursing that, abusing that boss. But if and that boss is making a lot of money, he has got 7-8 houses in Bombay and Delhi because he's making a lot of money. He has 2 daughters and he has a son. One daughter is married, one daughter is not married, and I mean there is some rebellion in the house, the way she dresses up, and he doesn't approve of it. So those things are there. Now the worst thing is his son is completely gone. Son is, and this man is 60 plus, and the son is like totally gone case. So imagine you can have everything in life, but if your child, especially son, has gone astray, he will blow up all the money you can collect. So now this guy is chasing money, collecting money, thinking that his son will have a good life. What he's doing, he's actually giving food to that son to go further astray. But the what he's going through, maybe he's not understanding that he's doing something wrong, but this whole situation is not keeping him in a peaceful state, and that is leading to him creating toxicity in the whole environment. So now, how do you deal with that? Don't react to that. Have empathy, and with empathy, you can deal with the situation very, very nicely. This is what I realized, and this is what I used to practice. So I was unaffected by that boss, and people used to leave within months or year. So there was a huge attrition in the system, except me, when I left with my own will. So the thing is, how do we deal with the situation is very, very important, and this is what we have to understand and it is not easy, because our whole conditioning is for so many years, it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back, and to exist in a world which is behaving in that way, if you evolve, you actually feel like a misfit. That's another problem, because till the time you're not totally purified, and so many times you feel you are like a misfit, you become an outcast. But at least you will see that you have peace of mind. But to get away from this society in this Kali, it's not easy. I hope I have answered the question. And anyone has a question? In fact, I have written two books which are very, very interesting. Like one is on the mind and one is on social issues. And both are very, very interesting to understand how the society is actually, the capitalists have brainwashed the society for their vested interest, how different complexes, military industrial complex, capitalist, pharma industry, finance industry, how they have created a world which was not needed, and how is that caused so much of stress in us in our life. So many things have been created which were not needed. How many of us go to the villages to see how they live? So simple life is, and now like basic question I ask sometimes: who's more happy, a yogi in the mountain, Himalayas, or Ambani? So this is what it is. Yeah, Sangeeta, yeah, please. I'll keep speaking. I have a bad habit of doing a lot of blah blah
Mm,
blah till the
yeah,
time you don't stop
I
me.
like to be, I don't like to put on my video. Please excuse me for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the thing is, the theosophy, it's a very uh, occult
Vast.
science,
Yeah.
and it's a very wonderful message which has been brought down to us.
Mhm.
And the thing is, we are actually super powerful beings,
Yes,
and we are
yes,
not
exactly.
aware of it.
Yes, that is
Uh,
what.
we have the power within us, but because of the pattern, as you said, we we submerge those powers with which are we are carrying within us.
Yeah,
Like, we have the powers of, the minute we see a person, we know exactly like what's
yes,
the thoughts going on in his mind, or
yeah,
how
yeah,
we should be behaving with that person, or what that person's background is. Even knowing the background of that person, also we come to know that exactly how we have to behave. But in life, we face so many situations, sometimes we have been misunderstood, we have been misinterpreted, and it's not a fault of ours. Actually, the other person doesn't understand us as to what level we are at, being with the theosophical knowledge. It is very it's very difficult to deal with a normal person who doesn't have any knowledge with theosophy, because that person doesn't understand what you're trying to tell or say or behave, so in a normal situation, for a theosophist, it's a very difficult life to live in a normal surrounding.
so I will
But
explain.
as a theosophist, I mean, when I carry this understanding, I should be more understanding towards the person who doesn't carry this knowledge, you know. So
So
basically,
that's you're talking about empathy. So that's where the empathy
no,
should come first of all.
it's not exactly empathy, I mean, empathy is just a part of it, but not fully. Because, when I started off on this journey, I didn't even know what was the meaning of karma, you know I really didn't understand, Then in fact, I got into pranic healing, first. And then, I realized, that the first two levels are of healing. So you have to heal yourself first and the people around you, you know. Then you're ready for the spiritual knowledge. And then you can get connected to your higher soul and know what exactly why you've been born as a human being, because we are just incarnated souls. We are just a puppet, you know. And nothing is in our hands. We can't control, even though we feel we can control the situations. We can't control that. We can't control somebody is being born. Or, we just can't control anything. It's just that a wrong uh, assumptions we always carry within ourselves, being a human being. But this realization only comes with theosophy that, death, theosophy only talks about death and the life after death. So we are so scared of death, per se, death, we can't deal with it. So it's very important that we understand these concepts, these very concepts of theosophy, which will make it easier for us to understand others and also ourselves.
Yeah. So first is very important thing is that we need to first understand ourselves. That's what I feel.
Sorry?
Out of my own experience, I feel that it's very important that first we understand ourselves.
Yes.
So that's like a I would say that I will now not actually bother about who's behaving which way. It's more important that I understand my own self and where I'm going wrong, and I cannot change the world. So it's not about trying to worry about who's behaving like what, whoever it may be, but it's all about how do I transform my own self. Have I understood? Have I achieved that realization? Have I understood the reality in totality? So it's not about that I am doing a comparison with somebody who knows theosophy, who doesn't know theosophy. It's about my own transformation, that how much transformation I've gone through myself, that it doesn't matter to me whether somebody else understands theosophy or not. So it's all about my own transformation, which is very important to understand, because then we get into a comparison. So
Uh,
comparison is not needed. Comparison,
sorry. Can I interrupt if you don't
yeah,
mind?
yeah.
See, I read this book by Annie Besant, and it's a very beautiful book, Ancient Wisdom. Okay. In that book, I don't know whether you have read it or not. In that book, she mentions about how you have to use your thoughts. She mentions about the different bodies which we carry. She talks about all the psychic energies we carry. She talks about dreams, sleep, and also she talks about death. You know, exactly. I mean, she has scrutinized uh, the theosophical subject in a very scientific way. And if somebody who's not a theosophically oriented or associated, if that person also reads, that person also understands exactly. And that's a very change of mindset the person faces with that kind of a knowledge, because exactly that you're not actually you're a soul, you're not a body, you know so this is just a thing which you're just carrying. You happen to have a body, a physical body, but after the physical body dies, what next? What? How are you going to? You don't really die with the physical body. You know what exactly is sleep? What is exactly dream? So all these things are very important. When a person understands these things, I'm sure there's a very vast difference which comes in the life and facing any situations.
Yeah. So anybody else wants to say anything?
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to say anything? Madhvi ji,
Uh-huh. Sorry.
Madhvi ji from Ujjain, no?
Thank you. Thank you.
Vaishali ji, anything?
इनफैक्ट शिव जी आप जो बात कर रहे थे ना, that is more the pattern and all, that is neuro linguistic programming. So it, I don't know whether you're aware of neuro linguistic programming, how it
So
happens.
Sangeeta ji, I will just tell one thing. This session is basically on total expedition learning. It's not based on any techniques and books. This is a very open discussion,
No,
not
but you
aligned.
what you were saying is that I was
Yeah,
getting those thoughts about neuro linguistic
sure.
programming.
So this will all see ultimately all everything is all common. We can give,
Yeah, exactly.
we can create some terms, this that, but this is like very open discussion. This is not the whole idea of this discussion was that we just think about our own understanding without basically quoting that it is aligned to this and that, our own understanding. And if you really see, theosophy says that we should get into our own thinking mode, totally not without any identity, without any kind of going back to anything. But what do we understand by whatever we learn, like NLP or whatever we learn, whichever book we read? What is our own learning
Can
in
I
it?
share my experience, like how I got into theosophy? In fact, pranic healing is actually is a lot of things have been inputted from the Theosophical Society's books, and of the source of pranic healing is theosophy. So I wanted to always, because pranic healing was getting too challenging, uh, like sales and marketing. So I didn't want to get into all that. So I wanted to get to the crux of spirituality. I didn't want to mix money with spirituality. With a lot of people, they say that if you're spiritual, then your money is really very easily gets flowed into you. I don't know, yet to crack that thing. But anyway, so when I came first, so I met this librarian. She was a colonel. Okay. So in fact, that time I wanted to know more about clairvoyance. Sorry about the noise. Clairvoyance. And because there was this course happening with pranic healing where clairvoyance was only after the levels. Okay. And I was not eligible for the levels because I used to not meditate, and I also had just met with an accident. And so after all the 8 days with all these accident issues, I had spent money, and I get there and then I was rejected. So I was very pissed off. And so I came to Theosophical Society. I said, I need to know about clairvoyance. So I was being told by this librarian, don't ever go that way, because once you open that faculties, they will not close. So I was a little confused. I said, just by reading a book, how can I just open my faculties? But I had that inner desire that I wanted to know about this clairvoyance thing. And I did achieve that. I did achieve that state of mind. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to achieve any state of mind, you can. And you can, the sources, and if it's unconditional love, as you said, then the nature really helps you to achieve that state of mind. And you get the right kind of books, you get the right kind of people, they bump into you, they tell you, they share their notes. And you tend to start believing yourself and your energies, and it really becomes interesting. But then again, you have to get to a self that otherwise it starts ego boosting. Oh, I can see that. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I can, that ego boosting, what I'm talking about. So but then when that comes, then the nature starts again, uh, trying to put hurdles in your path. Again, I think this she's getting more ego boosting rather than helping others, or it's unconditional, it's not getting unconditionally used. So that's when these theosophical books really come to help, that how these are masters, and how the other people who have interpreted these HPB's books, how they were able to deal with such situations. And that's where these theosophical books come to a help. So
Yeah,
I
so
used
our
to.
learning, our learning is
Yeah.
actually based
So
on we read books, we listen to people, we travel. So the learning is very holistic. It is not
yeah,
that we sit in a room and we get a learning. So we all have our own way of
yeah,
learning, but only we have to realize that how much we have learned and how much we are sorted out. It's totally for each one of us to
yeah. And
understand
as
here.
you said, sharing knowledge is very important.
Yeah,
Whatever you are learning or whatever you're understanding, whatever you are trying to interpretate. See, and you can't say that, if the other person is interpreting in his own way, because of his own experiences of life. You can't just say, no, 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 this is not the right way to think. What I'm saying is the right way. It can't be, theosophy is a
yeah, we
very,
are sharing experience. This is all experience sharing
yeah,
session.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So I met a few people in Theosophical Society who were very adamant about their knowledge and the way they were interpreting that. So I was a little put off with it. So I said, "नहीं, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता." So
yeah,
everybody
yeah. The
their own
theosophy
way.
core, the core of theosophy is that when people meet, discuss, nobody is supposed to impose. Even theosophy is written. If you read School of Wisdom, I have a document which I will like to share by Janaraja Das. It says that whatever is there, it should nobody should impose on anyone. There should be a
Yeah.
freedom to share and freedom to accept. It is not about imposing, not about making any statement. We are all sharing experiences. I am also sharing because I'm sharing out of what I achieved through all this long journey of
Yeah.
traveling
So
into
the
Himalaya.
only
Yeah,
authors which I would recommend if people would like to know about is Geoffrey Hodgson and Rudolf Sterner's books are very good, and Lead Beater's books are also very good. Annie Besant's, yes, but Annie Besant's some books are very confusing. But Lead Beater's books are really very nice. Like they're very down to earth. Like he has literally put a so much in simpler way that anybody can understand what he's trying to say.
yeah.
But with
Actually, the
Annie
whole
Besant,
whole
huh?
idea of sharing knowledge or experience, or even suppose writing a book. When I wrote a book, I realized I was teaching in Europe actually, and then I realized the way people were teaching is they make things very complicated. The whole idea is how
Ah,
simple the teaching can be, how simple the
yes.
exchange should be. That will be
Yeah.
more beneficial rather than because sometimes people have to show there is ego in teaching also, because I'm more like Vidwan. There's a difference between Vidwan and Gyani, learned and wise. So people want to show that they know this book by heart, or they know this book by heart. Like
No,
uh,
actually, that's not important. I would stress more on, because this subject is very complicated, theosophical science. So it's very, very difficult to understand, for a lame person. Like even if you try to make it very simple, it's not that easy. So Rudolf Steiner, some videos are like they have a university, they have a college where their students, they have come up with an animated versions of what exactly it means by sleep, what exactly it means by dream, what exactly it means by death. So they have animated that process, and it's so interesting. And I would recommend if somebody takes it up and does something like that, where they animate the stuff to explain actually what happens.
yeah,
And when you realize,
animation is a good way to create a visual way of teaching. So that's obviously very effective
yeah,
way. Yeah. So, but like whatever whoever has what capability or experience and knowledge, they can share that way only. So this is more of a discussion forum here, and this was we are trying to have here, and working more on understanding how to control thoughts. This is the whole. Uh, I mean,
yeah,
basis
I
of
wouldn't
basis
say
of this discussion.
controlling thoughts is really a good idea. It's just to understand how your thoughts are, or how from where these thoughts are coming. Because when you're living in a society, sometimes some thoughts comes which are not even yours. They come because your neighbors have neighbors or friends or people who are associated with, they carry those thoughts and they bump into you, and that's what you carry them along. So the easier way out is have salt water bath every day. So your aura is clean, you're clean, your thoughts are clean. So I practice that, you know.
Okay. So anyway, we all have our own way of understanding things, so that's not an issue. And so I will just request somebody else who has any point to discuss, because we both have three of us have already discussed something, but nobody else has come forward to say anything else. So we just gave a chance to others also, because now we have to close in 10 minutes. वैशाली जी, शरद जी, माधवी जी, वर्षा जी, आपको कुछ बोलना है? You have to say anything. Naidu ji, you have to say anything. So, Rahul, you have to say anything.
No, I just wanted to thank you for a lovely explanation and the conversation that happened. Yes, there are questions. It's a journey, a search. So those questions will get answered in time. That's why I asked the question that I did. And over a period of time, I hope to get to the place you guys are. I'm very young in this journey. I hope to get to your levels of understanding at some point of time. So thank you very much for sharing your experiences and thoughts.
Okay, thanks, Rahul ji. Thanks, Sangeeta ji, for sharing your experiences and your point of views. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Nobody else is doing it. In fact, so we'll see each other next week. Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.